One love left me and said goodbye. I'm really blue, but I'm not gonna cry. I'm gonna take a crazy trip to see if I can't forget about the drip.
The house? No, darling, I sold it. I had to. Well, I simply could not afford it any longer. 15 years. Well, I bought it when I moved to Laguna in 72. Yes, darling, it is. It's very difficult to give up. Well, sometimes you just have to take the bull by the horns. No, I'm in San Clemente now. Nixon lives down the road. Yeah, just a wiretap away. No, I'm renting. No, it's ghastly. Eek. California ticky-tack. I may have to give up my Christmas in July party this year. Well, it's just not this sort of event you can throw in a rental. Oh, yes, darling, thank you. I do have someone to help me. No, not a maid. A nun. N-U-N. Oh, no, she's wonderful. She cooks, cleans, shops, types, and prays for me. I just love her to pieces. Oh. Well, right now she's helping me to get my archives packed up. Yes, everything's being shipped off to the Royal Library of Denmark. Because they asked for it? Well, when I was over there filming the documentary, well, they want everything. They're going to call it the Christine Jorgensen Collection. Yeah, I know, it sounds like a clothing line, but it's really it's really my entire life story told in documents. Anyway, Dottie, you know what we were talking about before? My new book? No, my new book. You know, about all the fabulous people I've met and worked with since the last book. Well, I just want you to know that I'm scribbling a few lines in it about you. Yes, of course it will be flattering. Well, I just want to mention that, you know, we worked together on that club act. Yes, Legends. Yes, it is too bad we couldn't find a backer. We would have been sensational. Well, we still are. No, darling, I won't breathe a word about your private life. There's nothing to breathe. There's no scandal attached to the name of Dorothy L'Amour. Well, thank you, my sweet. Now, I must get back to my packing. Oh, well, I miss your cheerful smile and perfectly plucked eyebrows. All right, Dottie. Yes, we'll make a date as soon as I know what comes next. Well, they want me for Merv Griffin, so I'll come up for that and we'll have lunch. Yes, I'd love that. Goodbye, darling. Love to you and yours. Christ. You know, that woman never stops talking. Would you like a drink, Sister Mary Elizabeth?
No, thank you. Would you like one?
That on the rocks with a twist.
No V8?
I had a V8 for breakfast. For lunch, I just want a twist of lemon. Oh my God.
Is something wrong?
My recordings. I just found these Ah, hmm.
Oh, for a moment there I thought,
On this one, I just talked. It was a studio interview I did with Nipsey Russell. My God, the questions that man asked me.
like what?
Oh, endless questions about my body, about my sex life. He even asked if my penis was preserved.
Preserved?
In Copenhagen, at the hospital where they did my penectomy. He wanted to know if the doctors had pickled my prickle.
Good Lord, they didn't, did they?
No, I don't think so. But if they did, it should go to the Royal Library with the rest of my archives. They could keep it there, like a holy relic.
Christine.
Can't you just hear the tour guide? This, ladies and gentlemen, is the penis that Christine Jorgensen had removed when she was 25 years of age.
I don't know how you can joke about such things.
Well, how can I not joke about such things? I've spent my entire life being quizzed about my genitalia. Miss Jorgensen, do you have a vagina? Miss Jorgensen, do you have a clitoris? Miss Jorgensen, do you have ovaries? Miss Jorgensen, are those your real breasts? Miss Jorgensen, do you have testicles? Miss Jorgensen, do you have orgasms?
I'm sorry, it must have been hard for you.
To have my privates made so public? Yes, but the publicity is what got me into show business, so I put up.
But you didn't really want that, did you?
Do you have a glamorous career in show business? Oh, God, no. I was a very shy person, and George was.
And then overnight, you became the most famous woman in America.
The world.
Who leaked that story about you anyway?
You mean the Daily News story that made me so famous?
Yes, who was it? You never said.
Well, I'm saving up for my new book. If I ever get the damn thing written.
What's on the other record, the 45?
Oh, 2 songs, novelty numbers. Side A is Crazy Little Men. That one was inspired by Sputnik. And the other number was called
Nervous.
How did you know?
Well, I have a confession to make.
Another one?
I had those records.
What do you mean?
When they first came out, I snuck into a record store and bought them, but I didn't have a record player, so I could never play them. I just hold them in my hands and when I was alone and try to imagine what you sounded like.
Well,
I was 8, just going into the Navy. I hid them under my bed so my parents wouldn't find them.
why? Did your parents disapprove of me?
Well, they were very religious. Baptists.
Well, then they probably never even heard of me.
Oh, everyone knew who you were. I knew when I was 14.
How?
Those magazine articles.
You mean my 5-part autobiography for American Weekly Magazine?
Yes.
Hearst paid me $25,000 for the rights. That was a fortune. I built a house for my parents with it.
Well, I hid the magazines under my bed. I'd take them out at night and read them with a flashlight. Look at your pictures. You look so glamorous, so happy.
Did Mommy and Daddy ever find me hiding under your bed?
Well, when I came home on leave, they were gone. The records and the magazines. I never knew what happened to them. My parents never said a word.
Well, darling, I'd give you these records as a souvenir, but I think they're probably the only copies left in the universe.
No, they have to be in the official Christine Jorgensen collection so people in the future can hear what you sounded like.
Sounded like? Past tense?
Are you tired, Christine?
I'm tired and wound up at the same time. The way I used to feel after a performance.
Would you like a sandwich?
No, but I'll have that vodka you never brought.
You haven't had anything to eat. You need to keep your strength up.
Well, if you want a sandwich, go make one.
I can wait.
For what? If you're hungry and you want a sandwich, go make yourself a goddamn sandwich.
I think we should stay focused on the task at hand until I go meet Brenda.
Who's Brenda?
I told you, Brenda Lana Smith. She might be able to help you when I leave.
What do you mean leave?
Christine, I told you I'm moving to Missouri.
Ah, yes. To that farm or commune or whatever it is.
I'm going to start my ministry there.
Yes, I'm sorry. I completely forgot. I've just got so much on my mind right now.
I'll help you as long as I can, and then maybe Brenda Lana can move in if you like her.
I can't think about that right now. Stanton's going to be here any minute. Did you make up the bedroom for him?
Yes, this morning, before you got up.
He hasn't been out here since I sold the Laguna house. God only knows what I'll think of this dump.
I don't see anything wrong with this place.
Yes, well, if I grew up in a trailer, I suppose this place would look decent to me too. But I didn't, and it doesn't. I'm used to more and better. And Stanton's used to more and better. You should see his house in Southampton.
Is it beautiful?
Gorgeous. It's over 200 years old. It has a beautiful view of the ocean.
You've known him a long time.
Yeah, well, not quite 200 years, but just about.
Where did you meet?
Long Island. He went to my sister's church.
So he's a religious man.
Well, why do you ask that?
Just curious.
You know what's curious? Thinking about it, or rather trying not to think about it.
It?
It. The soul, the spirit. What happens to us after we
Die.
It's like one of those scary things hiding under your bed when you're a kid, You can't see it, and you don't dare talk about it, but you know it's there, under your bed, just waiting. Oh, that must be Stanton.
You sit. I'll get it.
No, I'll get the door. You get the vodka. Make it a double. I mean, two. Hello. Stanton, darling, I'm so glad to see you.
The flight was late and the traffic's terrible.
Well, welcome back to California.
Mm-hmm.
I know what you're thinking, Stanton, but you have to lie and tell me how nice it is.
It's very nice.
Liar. None of my old furniture fits.
Chris is fine.
Oh,
Oh, hello. How are you?
oh, darling, this is the nun I told you about. Sister Mary Elizabeth. She's been helping me with my archives.
That would explain the vodka. Stanton Bahr.
Yes, I know. Christine's always talking about you.
Oh, you naughty girl. What filthy gossip have you been spreading about me?
Only that you're my oldest and dearest friend in the world, and that you love vodka on the rocks as much as I do.
Do I call you sister or what?
My order isn't very strict about names.
Well, what is it again? Your order, or, your phylum, or whatever you call it?
It's the Order of Saint Elizabeth. You can call me Sister Mary Elizabeth or just Sister.
How about Joanna?
I don't use that name anymore, Christine. I gave it up when I took my vows.
I know, but that's how I've always known you, as Joanna Clark, the famous trans activist. Sister Mary Elizabeth used to be Miss Joanna Clark.
Ms.
I've never heard of the Order of Saint Elizabeth. Is it Catholic?
Episcopalian.
Really? I'm Episcopalian. I've never heard of it.
Well, that's because she made it up.
Made it up.
The Bishop of Orange County refused to recognize her vows and her order.
Christine, please, I don't want to talk about that.
She can tell you all about it later on. Well, let's just get you settled in, and then we can all relax. Sister, would you kindly pour us a couple of vodkas? And please bring me a pack of Carlton cigarettes from the fridge. You flew first class, I hope.
It's my one little vanity.
Well, the only one you admit to. Did they show a movie?
Field of Dreams. It put me to sleep.
Is that the one about football?
Baseball.
Oh. Honestly, what is it about men and their balls? I mean, baseball, football, basketball. Well, you're always throwing a ball or hitting a ball or catching a ball or bouncing a ball or scratching your balls. Well, I just never knew the appeal. I don't understand.
It's good to see you again, Chris.
Oh, Stan, you don't know how glad I am to see you. It's been hell. Absolute hell.
I'm here now.
Do I look awful?
You look fine.
Liar. I haven't slept in a week. Oh, thank you. Where are my cigarettes?
There weren't any Carltons. You smoked them all.
Well, maybe you'd be a darling and run to the supermarket for me. There's money on my dresser.
I'll put this in his room first.
Oh, well, wait. Chris, I can stay in a hotel if it's easier for you.
Absolutely not. I've got 2 bedrooms and Sister Mary Elizabeth has already made up the bed for you.
If you're sure.
How long is he going to stay?
Well, until he gets a nice tan or laid by a beach boy, whichever comes first.
I hope you're having safe sex. There's an AIDS epidemic going on, you know.
I'm well aware of that, sister. Why do I get the feeling she doesn't like me?
She's very protective of me, that's all.
Wants you all to herself.
Look, she's been a godsend, Stanton, helping me transition from the Laguna house. And, she has such a good heart.
Takes orders, too.
Well, she used to be a military man, like you.
And now she's a nun, or pretending to be a nun. What next?
She has quite a backstory.
All your friends have backstories, Chris. That's the only kind of friend you collect.
Well, okay, fine. But you know, about tomorrow, Stan, you'll drive me to the hospital, won't you?
Of course I will. What time should we leave?
8 o'clock,
She means AM.
before the traffic gets bad.
Well, we'll take the caddy, put the top down, pretend we're not swimmers again. Hmm?
Well, why don't we go in my rental? I've got a snazzy little Thunderbird.
Well, because I want to go in my caddy. Like my second home now that I've had to sell them.
Chris, it was the right thing to do.
That's what I told her.
That house was too big.
I know, but it was my house for 15 years. It was so beautiful.
And so expensive.
No. But I could see the ocean, and I could invite 200 people for my Christmas and July parties, and everyone fit.
Chris, I know you loved the Laguna house, but frankly, it was too big and it was falling apart.
Like me.
You're not falling apart. Did you get your asking price?
Yes.
Yes. 225.
But of course, I had to pay for various repairs. And the realtor, 6% for doing nothing. My name sold the house. And then the capital gains. And
Did you settle your tax?
all right. Stanton, Mary Elizabeth is a friend.
Your friends have been known to leak stories.
Sister Mary Elizabeth does not leak. Do you, darling?
I don't leak unless I'm asked to.
I was just going to ask if you settled your tax problem with the IRS.
Oh, the IRS. I think I hate the IRS more than I hate Ronald Reagan.
Did you settle?
You know, the IRS has made my life hell for the last 30 years, as you well know. I
Did
have
you
given
settle?
them thousands of dollars, and it is never enough. I
Did
have
you settle?
always paid them exactly what I thought they should get.
Fine.
And,
But that was never what the IRS thought they should get.
and did I, as a single woman, ever get one single tax benefit from all those hundreds of thousands of hard-earned dollars I shelled out to the IRS? I did not.
Just tell me, Chris. Just give me a straight answer. Did you settle with the IRS?
Yes, she settled.
Yeah, but I got them down. I showed them receipts, boxes and boxes of receipts for tax deductions I never took at the time. They questioned everything. This is a receipt for a pedicure, Ms. Jorgensen. That's not a tax deductible expense.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
Yeah. Yes.
How?
Because I wear open-toed shoes in my club act, and everyone's always looking at my feet. The IRS knows nothing about the expenses one incurs as an entertainer.
The person grilling her didn't even know who she was.
Yeah, it's a good thing I brought my copy of my autobiography to show them.
Did you hide any income from them, Chris?
Oh, what income? There is no income. The show with Dottie L'Amour fell through. The college lectures have dried up. I couldn't do Mame in Anaheim because I broke my arm.
We're suing the hospital.
Why? Did the hospital break your arm?
No, but they didn't take care of it properly. So I couldn't do Maine and Anaheim, and I lost a month's worth of work, which might have led to a tour and more TV interviews, and well, who knows? Maybe even a TV series.
You didn't tell me about this lawsuit.
Well, my lawyer just filed it. Joanna thinks I have an excellent chance for a settlement.
On what grounds?
Malpractice.
You're not using that same shyster lawyer, are you?
Ah, which shyster lawyer, dear? There have been so many.
You know the one I mean.
Ah, the one who wanted to marry me and be my business manager.
Yes, that one.
No, I hired someone new. This one worked for Nixon, so I know he's ruthless and will get as much as he can.
No, Chris. You and your goddamn lawsuits.
It has a legitimate case.
Well, how do you know? Are you a lawyer as well as a nun?
No, but I know how the system works.
Or how to work the system?
Stanton, Joanna's an expert on lawsuits. She was the first trans person to sue the U.S. Army for discrimination and win a huge settlement.
It wasn't huge.
Well, it was a settlement. And they even gave her an honorable discharge.
Fine. But what does that have to do with your broken arm?
She is an expert at suing. It is because of Joanna here that my California driver's license now lists me as a female. Because Joanna sued and won. And if I'd been born here in California, I would even be able to have the gender on my birth certificate changed. All because of her prowess with the legal system.
Let's just forget about this lawsuit for now. I was asking you about hidden income. From your old rental properties, for instance?
Those were sold at a loss.
Well, that's because you rented to students and didn't keep up the maintenance.
Maintenance costs money, Stanton. Insurance costs money. And I've barely been able to make ends meet.
What about the documentary they made about you in Denmark? I thought you were going to sell that to PBS.
Yeah, well, I tried. But they're terrified to show anything that might be construed or considered sexually risque because the Republicans will cut their funding.
What about the new book?
Well, the agent said the publishers need a proposal before they'll even make an offer.
I'm helping her write it.
Yeah, well, they want a tell-all, which means dirt. That's all publishers want nowadays, dirt.
I thought you already had a writer working with you on this book.
You mean that son of a bitch Raymond Strait?
We're going to sue him too.
We?
Oh, Christine.
Why? What did he do?
He said he wanted to write my biography. I said, fine, but I want half the advance and a cut of the royalty.
Why, if he was the author?
Because I gave him hours of my time and personal insight.
Well, isn't that how a biography gets written? If the subject is still alive, I mean.
His questions just kept getting more and more personal. He said I was being evasive. Me, ha ha. Finally, I said, look, I have no intention of answering those personal questions because I'm saving that material for my new autobiography. And he just blew up.
He screamed.
Took his tape recorder and all the tapes and flounced out, and now he won't return the tapes. So, Sister Mary Elizabeth thinks I should sue him.
Force him to return the tape so he can't use the material.
People seem to think that I'm some sort of drama queen, which I most certainly am not.
No, but these frivolous lawsuits do have a way of keeping your name in the papers.
I have never filed a frivolous lawsuit in my life.
Oh, what about the one you filed against that producer?
If you are referring to Edward Small, that was hardly a frivolous lawsuit. That bastard made a fucking fortune with a movie based on my life.
A very bad movie, I might add.
I thought it was wonderful. I saw it 4 times.
Mr. Small made a movie based on my best-selling autobiography published in 1967. He paid me a paltry sum for the rights, but paid himself $400,000 as the producer.
Which the court ruled he was entitled to because of the contract you signed.
I only signed that contract because of the lousy agent.
I told you not to sign that contract or use that agent, but you wouldn't listen to me.
Look, I needed the money, Stanton. My parents both had cancer and I was paying for their care.
Yes, I know.
And he did cheat me, even if the court said he didn't. He exploited my name and my life story. Excuse me, Sister Mary Elizabeth, where are my cigarettes, please?
You smoked them all.
No, the ones I asked you to buy.
I haven't had time to buy them.
Look, I know you're trying to get me to quit smoking, but I'm not going to.
I'll get them now.
Carlton 100s. A carton, please. There's a discount coupon on my dresser. Take $10. You can drive the caddy.
I'll take my pickup.
Are you going to stop picking on me and take me out for a nice dinner tonight or what, Stanton?
Of course. Where would you like to go?
Oh, Ron's in Laguna. You know, he does a local talk show right in his restaurant. That's quite a large following.
Mostly gay, I presume.
Well, it is Laguna, but the gay scene's nothing like it used to be.
New York's a morgue, too.
Stanton, promise me you'll be careful.
I'm always careful.
Reagan won't do a thing to help. You can't even say the word gay, let alone AIDS. I've been doing benefits left and right, trying to raise money and keep the boys' spirits up.
Come here. Come sit beside me. Be my girl.
Oh, okay. You know, you're the only person who understands the value of cuddling. You and Puffy here. You know, they don't cuddle at the hospital. They just stand there in their white lab coats and draw your blood and take your x-rays and tell you to come back for the results.
Don't worry. I'll be there with you.
Tonight, I just want to go out and have some fun. Can we do that?
You're the only person I've ever had fun with.
Well, Joanna's no fun now that she's a nun. Well, she wasn't much fun before either.
She looks like someone who takes life very seriously.
Let's do that. Go to a few bars and have a few cocktails and then dinner at Ron's. Get that table overlooking the ocean.
You sure you're up for it?
You know me. Party waiting to happen.
I'll go take a shower, wash off New York.
Stan, you know, I need to ask you something. It's so difficult.
What is it?
I can barely bring myself to ask.
Ask.
Well, I'm afraid you'll say no.
Well, I can't say yes or no until you ask me, can I?
Stanton, will you marry me? I mean, would you marry me?
Are you proposing?
I'm asking.
Hypothetically?
No.
Why?
Well, it wouldn't involve any, I mean, it would be what the French call a mariage blanc.
We're not French.
Well, we could go back and forth. Here in the winter and Southampton in the summer. Or even live separately, the way we always have.
Why?
And it would be legal here in California because my driver's license identifies me as a woman. You're not mad at me for asking, are you, Stanton?
No, I'm not mad. I just want to know why.
Why we should get married?
Why you would want to marry me?
Well, you're the only man I would want to marry. You know what a sucker I am for strong, handsome men.
That's not an answer.
Well, I've always wondered what it would be like if we were married. Haven't you?
No.
You haven't?
No. I'm gay.
So what? Half the gay men in Hollywood are married to women.
I don't live in Hollywood.
Well, it could be advantageous to us both, tax-wise.
I don't want to get entangled with your tax problems, Chris, or your lawsuits.
It's just that I'd like to be married before it's the one thing I've always wanted, to be married to someone who loves me. Not the show business me, the real me underneath all that. I know it's silly and sentimental, but, well, there you are.
Chris, what's that line you always use with interviewers?
What line?
You know, when they ask you about marriage.
Yeah, well, I say I've been engaged twice and I've been deeply in love twice, but I was never engaged to the men I loved, and I was never in love with the men I was engaged to.
But what you never say is you never could have married them anyway, because your New York birth certificate still identifies you as a man, and legally men cannot marry men.
Yes, but I've got my passport and my California driver's license. Those are legal forms of...
It won't work, Chris. When you have to produce your New York birth certificate, they'll do exactly what they did in the past, tell you that you cannot legally get married because legally you are still a man.
I could sue. This time I could sue and win.
Is that what's behind all of this? Another big lawsuit to get your name in the papers?
Bastard.
Well, is it?
No, not to get my name in the papers, to get justice, to be treated fairly, equally, as a human being, as an American citizen, as the woman I've always been, even if my birth genitals said otherwise.
We've always had a wonderful time together, Chris. I love being your best buddy. I love being a couple with you. But marriage, even if we could, would absolutely ruin it.
Ruin what? Your fun?
I need my independence, Chris, just as you need yours. We're set in our ways. We're not meant to be married.
Stanton, I'm asking this as a friend, a very frightened friend. I admit there is a financial side to my proposal, but I'm not after your money. I'm not chasing headlines.
Then what is it you want?
Health insurance.
You want to marry me for my health insurance?
It's so much cheaper when you're married, the premiums.
Are you telling me you can no longer afford your health insurance?
Look, I'm trying to be practical, Stanton. I've looked into all the treatments, what they'll cost.
You don't know what they'll cost. You haven't received a diagnosis yet.
I'm pissing blood, Stanton, among other things. Something's terribly wrong. I'm trying to prepare for it. And whatever it is, it's going to cost a fortune. And I don't have any income. And I'm too young for Medicare.
You've put something away, haven't you? From the house sale and...
If I don't have health insurance, I don't know how I'm going to manage the chemo and the radiation, hospital stays, operations. They say your hair falls out.
What about your insurance from the union? Don't you still have that?
To stay in the union, you have to be working. Even if it's just doing a talk show. If Merv Griffin doesn't come through, I'm out. I won't be able to get the union health insurance anymore. And if I can't get the union health insurance and have to pay for everything out of pocket, everything I've worked so hard to achieve. Look, I went through this with my mom and dad 20 years ago.
I remember.
I did everything I could to make them comfortable. I didn't think it would ever happen to me. And to go through it all alone, without insurance, like one of those poor boys with AIDS, without anyone to help them.
But what about your sister?
Dolly. You know how Dolly is. So religious. You know, we don't see eye to eye on anything.
I know that she loves you and cares for you.
Dolly has her own family to take care of. Oh, look, I'll make you the beneficiary of my life insurance policy, the one from the Army. That's $10,000. And I'll pay for my share of the health insurance premiums. And tax-wise,
Please don't talk to me about taxes, Chris.
well, will you at least think about it? There are ways to get around all the legal issues.
Yes, I'll think about it.
Thank you, Stan. I feel as though you've seen me naked.
I haven't said yes. But even if I say no, I'll still be your best buddy. Agreed?
Agreed. Now, let's get dolled up and go out and party. I need to make an entrance.
Well, you certainly wouldn't want to disappoint your fans.
No, darling, I'm not ready to take my final bow just yet.
Cool it, man. What's the hurry?
Where would I stay?
In the second bedroom, the one he's staying in now.
Would she expect me to pay?
I don't know. You'd have to ask her.
Because it would be a job, wouldn't it? Taking care of her.
I don't think of it that way.
Is she terribly demanding?
Well, she's...
Because I know how to deal with demanding women. I was married to one.
Me too.
For 20 years.
18 for me.
Well, when we divorced, she took the house, the kids, and all the money. She said she never wanted to see me again.
When did you see them last, your kids?
Oh, it's been 10 years. How about you? When was the last time you saw your son?
11 years ago. He's 27 now.
Know where he is?
In the Navy.
A military man, like his mom.
I just pray he'll have an easier time of it than I did.
I'm sure he will, as long as he doesn't become a woman like his dad.
Did you, sir?
I flew RAF, always loved planes.
Now it was ships for me.
Yes, so you said.
Yeah, I was an instructor in anti-submarine warfare before they kicked me out. A year before I would have gotten my 20-year pension.
And then you went into the army as a woman and they kicked you out too.
I told them everything before I signed up. It wasn't until I was getting a promotion and the higher-ups in Washington found out I was trans, and then they threw me out.
And you sued them and won. And then you formed the UCLA trans rights group and got the state to change your birth certificate. And now you're a bloody nun. You know, you really should write it all down.
What?
Your life, your autobiography.
Oh, people want to read about glamorous transsexuals like Christine, not ordinary ones like me.
Darling, I'd hardly call you ordinary. She was beautiful, wasn't she?
She still is.
She's had a facelift or two. Hasn't she?
I really don't know.
You do, but you're not telling me, just like you're not telling me what's really going on with her.
I think she should tell you.
Is it the big C?
She finds out tomorrow.
The Tropicana Havana before Castro, she's certainly got around.
Oh, Christine performed everywhere, even Korea.
Oh, for the troops.
No, she wanted to, but the army wouldn't let her.
Because she was an ex-GI, I suppose. They didn't want to give the boys any ideas. Oh, what's in that box?
Letters. Those are private.
Love letters?
In a way.
From who?
Strangers. They read about her and they wrote to her. Thousands of them from all over the world.
You mean trans fan mail?
Well, she gave people hope. They read about her struggles and they knew they weren't alone.
We're always alone. It's like that wretched boarding school I was sent to. There were hundreds of boys, but I never felt so alone in my life.
Somewhere in that box, there's a letter from me, written when I was 18 years old and had just joined the Navy.
Oh, do you think she saved it?
But she told me she saved all the letters, answered as many as she could.
Did she answer yours?
I didn't put a return address. I was too frightened.
Well, anyway, you'll be part of the Christine Jorgensen collection now.
So I said, stand when a lady enters a room. Oh, yes, darling, he was cute, but was he trustworthy?
He asked for my card.
American Express or Diners Club? My, well, who have we here?
Christine, this is Brenda Lana Smith. Brenda Lana, this is Christine Jorgensen.
And Christine Jorgensen's best friend, Stanton Bahr, visiting from New York.
Oh, how do you do? Pleased to meet you.
You're a Brit?
Yes, but trying not to be.
Why?
Margaret Thatcher, ever heard of her?
Oh, yes. Well, you know, we have Reagan, just as bad.
Oh, they're best buddies, your Ronnie and our Maggie.
No, if this is going to turn political, I'm going to bed.
Actually, I'm Mancunian Bahamian.
Isn't that a breed of cat?
Brenda Lana was born in Manchester, but she lived in the Bahamas for 20 years.
The Bahamas. I used to go there every week.
Yeah, until I moved to California. And then you migrated here every winter.
Brenda Lana was the honorary consul for Denmark.
So, you're a Danish, Mancunian, Bahamian.
I'm a half Mancunian, Danish Mancunian Bahamian.
Well, I'm 100% Danish American. Stanton here is 200% WASP. And I don't know what you are, Sister Mary Elizabeth.
It doesn't matter what I am.
Oh, of course it matters. That's how we get to be who we are. Genes and hormones.
Let's not forget our chromosomes.
Were you named Lana for Lana Turner?
No, it's an anagram.
Of what?
My old name.
What? Nala? Anal?
Alan.
Oh, of course. You're...
Brenda Lana was knighted, Christine, by the King and Queen of Denmark.
As a lady or a knight? Or a lady of the night?
I'm a knight of the Order of Dannenborg.
Well, what did you do to get yourself knighted?
I greased palms. I made it easier for the Danes to do business in the Bahamas. I had a business there.
Did you ever meet them?
Who?
King and Queen of Denmark?
No.
Well, I did. Last time I was in Copenhagen. The Royal Library of Denmark wants my archives, you know. They're going to turn me into an exhibit.
Yes, Sister Mary Elizabeth told me. The Christine Jorgensen collection. That's quite an honor.
Yeah, well, old receipts, old programs, old records, old matchbooks, old newspapers, old contracts, old magazines.
Old letters.
Yes. Old letters, old awards.
Christine was named Woman of the Year, in 1953 by the Scandinavian Societies of New York. It was in all the papers and on the newsreels.
Yes, I remember.
You do?
I do.
Yeah, because so many people don't.
I was just a child, of course, but I do remember.
So do I.
What about you, Mr. Bahr? Do you remember?
Of course, I remember. I drove her to the ceremony.
Yeah, well, it's all here in these boxes. My entire life. Well, not everything. Not the insults and the threats and the humiliations. I'm not sending any of those.
Those things aren't worth holding on to, Chris.
But they're hard to shake off, aren't they, Christine? Because they're so much a part of every trans woman's life.
Well, I've always believed in the power of positive thinking. Discard the negative, embrace the positive. I need a drink. Oh, shit. Oh, Jesus. Sorry. Ow.
Chris, what's wrong?
I have to go
Oh, come on, we'll get you to bed.
to the bathroom.
Let me help you.
I'm ready to go.
Don't be afraid. I'll go with you.
What should I do? Should I call an ambulance?
Sister Mary Elizabeth will know what to do.
We went out. She was fine. The life of the party.
Are you going to stay here with her?
Yes, for a week.
I meant longer.
Ooh, she has a sister. What's her name?
Sister Mary Elizabeth's moving to Missouri next week.
Well, Chris has tons of friends out here. 200 people came to her last Christmas in July party.
Those are party people, Mr. Bahr. They appear when there's free food and drink, and they disappear when it's gone.
It's probably just an infection. Something that can be cleared up with antibiotics.
I think you should be prepared for something more serious than that.
Why do you say that? You just met her. You don't know her medical history.
Every trans woman on earth knows Christine Jorgensen's medical history. She paved the way for the rest of us.
What are you talking about?
Well, she allowed herself to be a human guinea pig. She was one of the first people ever to take synthetic female hormones, massive amounts that the doctors would never prescribe nowadays.
Well, what does that have to do with...
All I'm saying is that she let herself be an experiment, and the doctors back then didn't know what they know now.
How is she?
Tired. I put her to bed.
Is she sleeping? Can I...
No. She doesn't want to see you. She wants to see you.
Why her? Why not me?
I think Christine wants to talk about living arrangements.
She still wants me to take her to the hospital tomorrow, doesn't she?
Yes, but right now she's kind of scared. It's been a rough week.
What happened anyway? What's going on with her?
I think she should be the one to tell you if she wants to.
We went out. She was fine. She was the life of the party.
What were you writing?
A furious letter.
Oh, to whom?
The Royal Library of Denmark.
Another one.
They refused to send back my archive.
Why do you want them back?
Research for my new book. I can't remember certain details, dates and things.
Make them up.
Brenda, it's an autobiography. I can't just make things up.
Why not? You've done it before.
What do you mean?
You've made things up over the years about your life, haven't you?
Brenda, I've been a woman much longer than you have. I became a woman back in the 1950s while you were still in school. I was as honest as I could be at that time.
Were you?
You have no idea how difficult it was.
I think I probably do.
Now we've got support groups. They do the surgery all over the country. But I had nothing. I had to make it up as I went along. It was like walking blindfolded through a minefield every day. I had to be careful about what I said and how I looked and all.
How you presented yourself?
Yes, I had to be super femme all the time.
You refused to live in stealth.
Well, once the story broke, that was impossible.
And who broke that story again? You've told so many conflicting tales about it.
Well, I'm saving that for my book.
It was your sister, wasn't it?
All will be revealed in the new book, which will never get written if I don't get my goddamned archives back.
Yes, I'll wager it was your sister. She seems like the sort of person who would do that.
Maybe I should write to Margaret.
Who?
Margareta, the Queen of Denmark. I mean, she could help me, couldn't she?
Libraries don't return archives, Chris.
Or you could write on my behalf. You're a Danish knight. You've got some clout.
Once you've given a library your archives, Chris, it's theirs to keep, to protect in perpetuity.
But it's my life. They shouldn't be able to keep me from my own life.
When you're feeling better, why don't you go back to Copenhagen and do your research there?
Yeah, that's an idea. Would you go with me?
I might. And then I could just move back to England from there.
Move back?
We don't need to talk about any of this now.
I didn't know you were thinking of moving back.
No, I'm not a US citizen. I just came here for my surgery. I can't stay here forever.
Well, you could stay and be a fugitive.
I'm not exactly the fugitive kind.
Where would you go? What, London?
Cornwall. It's England's California.
Why not the Bahamas?
I'll never go back to the fucking Bahamas as long as I live.
Why not? It's so beautiful there.
Not if you're trans. I left because I feared for my life.
I didn't know that, Brenda.
Well, now you do. 20 years of doing business and helping others and even being knighted. And the minute I began to transition, I was made to feel like a piece of unwanted rubbish.
I'm sorry.
You must have experienced that back in the 1950s.
Once I got a letter with a razor blade inside. Why don't you slit your throat, you freak? But mostly, from the public, I was treated with respect.
Because you were beautiful and famous.
No, because I demanded it. I made them look at me. I made them listen to me. I kept my dignity. And most of the letters I got were from people asking for help. Wrenching letters. I never knew there were so many like me. And I wanted to help them, set an example. I felt that was part of my job.
Do you want to have a little rest now?
Sick of resting. I'm going to go out and party.
I'll get us a drink then. How about that? On the rocks with a twist?
No. With V8. Oh, and bring my Carltons, please. I left them on the counter.
You know what the doctor said about smoking.
Yes, yes, yes. He wants me to quit. But it's rather like locking the gate after the cows got out, isn't it?
I wouldn't mind if you quit smoking either. It smells like a bar in here.
I like that smell. Reminds me of nightclubs.
Do you like the cigarette burns in the arms of your recliner too?
Oh, they're hardly noticeable.
Your sister certainly noticed them.
Dolly? She didn't say anything to me.
No, she said it to me in a rather brusque tone.
Where was I?
Asleep, in your chair, with a cigarette in your hand.
Well, I'm not going to quit.
Falling asleep while you're smoking is dangerous, Chris.
Mm-hmm. I thought you were getting us a drink. Hmm. Oh, you don't want me to quit smoking, do you, Puffy? After all these years? No, I didn't think you did. And you don't want me to quit drinking either, do you? No, I didn't think you did. Oh, Jesus Christ. What the hell? Why are you writing to the British Parliament?
To voice my objection.
About what?
Section 28.
Is that Thatcher's new law?
Now she's prohibiting all schools and public institutions from promoting homosexuality.
Whatever that means.
It means they're erasing our history from the libraries and legalizing homophobia and transphobia.
Well, then why would you want to move back there?
To fight that bigoted Tory bitch and her cruel laws.
It's the same thing Reagan and the Republicans are doing here. Been going on since the 40s.
It's always going on. They're always trying to erase us.
Mhm. The Lavender Menace, they called it back then. I ruined Stanton's career.
Oh, I didn't know Stanton had a career. I thought he was just born rich.
No. He was a career officer at the Defense Department until someone snitched on him.
You mean that he was gay?
They kicked him out and gave him a dishonorable discharge. It happened, well, right around the time I met him. That poor man was such a mess. But so was I, because the New York Post was publishing those horrible stories about me. And so was Time and Newsweek.
What were those horrible stories?
Oh, they said that I was a fraud. They said I was a eunuch. They said I was a hermaphrodite. They said I was a transvestite. They said I was a female impersonator. They said I was a castrated homosexual. An exhibitionist, you know, insane. They said I was everything and anything but the woman I was. I terrified them so that they were absolutely determined to destroy me.
Isn't it strange? All the ways they find to punish us for being who we are.
For refusing to accept who they tell us we are or should be. or must be. Oh,
Hello. Yes, this is her residence. Who's calling, please? It's the LA Times. And this is in reference to what, please? It's a reporter from the lifestyle section. They want to do a story on you.
yes, hello. Yes, this is Christine Jorgensen. Is this for a feature article? Yes, I can confirm that. I don't believe in hiding it. A cancer of the bladder and the lungs. Yes, I've had 2 tumors removed. No, I've been receiving chemotherapy and cobalt treatments. Well, yes, my doctors are very optimistic. No, I don't believe it's from taking hormones. It's genetic. My grandmother, my mother, and my father all had cancer. How am I dealing with it? Well, I firmly believe that how you approach it mentally affects your outcome. Yes, it's important to maintain a positive attitude. Well, that's how I've always approached life. I beg your pardon. It's been 36 years since the story broke. Yes, I do know who leaked the story, but I'm saving that for my new book. Well, it's a tell-all about my life. Everything I couldn't tell in my last book. Yes, I've had quite a ride. Well, I've had a career as a photographer, a nightclub entertainer, a college lecturer, and of course, you know that my 1967 autobiography was made into a motion picture. Yes, I've been on all the major talk shows, except Johnny Carson. And I'm scheduled for Merv Griffin, but we don't have a date yet. Yes, that is true. The Royal Library of Denmark. It will be called the Christine Jorgensen Collection. They're going to open it with an exhibition on my life. Yes, I'm hoping to go over for it. But, I mean, really, you know, if I died tomorrow, I wouldn't feel that life owed me anything. Well, I suppose the worst thing about cancer is the amount of time it takes to manage it. Well, it changes your sense of the future. You stop thinking about your 5-year plan and cut it down to 1 or, 2. Well, so I'm writing my book and planning my annual Christmas in July party. And after that, well, we'll see. Well, you're very sweet. Well, what's your name? Thank you, dear. When will your piece come out? Can I see a copy first? Thank you. Goodbye. I couldn't tell if she was writing my lifestyle piece or my obituary. I didn't sound tired, did I?
No. Are you?
Oh, honey, I'm sick and tired of being tired.
Would you like to go out for a drive? We could meet some friends in Laguna, have a few drinks.
Well, Stanton's coming over at 5. Let's all go out together.
You two can go. I'll stay here and finish my letter.
No, come with us.
Chris, I don't like going out with Stanton
Why not?
because he doesn't like me.
What makes you say that?
It's just a feeling I get, like he doesn't trust me. Your sister was the same way.
Dolly was?
Last week when she came to visit.
Well, she didn't say anything to me.
No, but I could tell.
You know, really, that last round of chemo must have really knocked me out.
I do everything I can for you, Chris, but Stanton and your sister treat me like I'm a servant of some kind with some ulterior motive.
What ulterior motive?
I don't know. They're just so suspicious.
I'll talk to them.
No, don't. You've got more important things to deal with.
I just want to get this book written. Set the record straight. That's all I want.
I told you I'd help you, but you're being so damn secretive about it.
You know, I shouldn't have sent them my archives. I should have kept everything until I finished my book.
If you named me your executor, I would have taken care of all that for you.
I think Stanton should be my executor.
Stanton?
Yes, why not?
Nothing.
Well, why not?
Do you really want to talk about this now?
No, but it's important. So yes.
Well, whoever you name as your executor will have to be here. Dispose of your things here. Manage your bequest. Deal with all kinds of things. It's hands-on work, Chris. And Stanton doesn't live here. He just flies in and out when he feels like it. He stays in a lovely hotel at the beach. He takes you out for fancy dinners, screws his beach boys.
And he takes me to my treatments.
When he's here, yes. And when he isn't, which is most of the time, I'm the one who takes you to your treatments.
Oh, Stanton's a busy man. He has a lot of obligations.
So have I.
You mean me? You think of me as an obligation?
I'm happy to help you, Chris. But maybe it would be better if I moved out.
No,
Then you could ask Stanton to move in.
I don't want Stanton to move in. I hate it that he has to see me like this.
Well, then perhaps your sister.
Oh. Oh, that must be Stanton. Now help me up. Come on. Make him a drink and tell him I'll be out in a minute, okay?
Joanna! Oh, Chris, it's Joanna.
Oh, God. Joanna, come in. I'm so glad to see you. When did you get back?
Just now, just this minute. I came here first thing.
Darling, are you still a nun?
No. The church refused to have me, and I couldn't sue them, so I left.
You're better off without that lot.
And that farm or commune or whatever it was in Missouri, that didn't work out either?
No, but I did find my true calling while I was there.
Oh,
What is it this time?
I'm creating a clearinghouse for AIDS information, a kind of electronic library on a computer network that everyone can access, not just universities and medical centers, everyone.
Joanna, I have no idea what you're talking about, but it sounds brilliant.
Well, I've always had a knack for electronics and computers and things from when I was in the Navy. And oh, you don't want to hear about this.
Yes, of course I do. I can see that something important has happened to you.
Can you? Because that's how I feel. I feel like I've been touched by grace.
Grace who?
God's grace.
Don't mind Brenda. She's an atheist. Come on, sit down and tell me what happened.
Well, it was so unexpected. I was working on this farm in Missouri. I was kind of depressed because by then I knew the church wasn't going to accept me. But one day I drove into town to get something, and I saw this young man in the parking lot.
Oh, how old?
Not very old, maybe 25.
Attractive.
No, his face was covered with sores.
A leper.
Kaposi sarcoma all over his face. He looked so ill and so frightened. So I went up to him and I asked if he needed any help. I said, I know what that is on your face because I worked with AIDS patients in San Francisco. The poor boy was terrified. He broke down in tears right there in the parking lot. He said he wasn't able to talk to his family about it. He didn't dare go to a doctor, and he didn't know about any of the kinds of treatments. And that's when I realized what I had to do, that I could help others, like this boy, even if it was just to find out information for them. The research is being done everywhere, but there's no one to find it.
And the young man with cancer, what happened to him?
He died. I was with him. Otherwise, he would have been all alone.
So, are you back here to stay, Joanna?
Yes, I'm moving back to San Juan Capistrano.
Where are you going to live?
Well, that's another miracle.
Another one. Darling, we'll have to take you out shopping for a new halo pretty soon.
Well, I love miracles. Do tell.
Well, you know how I've always been afraid to talk to my parents about who I am because they're Baptists. Well, I finally did it. I told them, and I told them what I was going to do, my ministry. And, well, they said I should move back in with them, that I could have an office there to do my work. They said I was their child and they would always love me.
Joanna, that's wonderful.
Can you have a drink now that you're not a nun anymore?
No, thank you. I can only stay a minute. I really came by just to see how you're doing.
Yeah, I'm doing.
We're managing.
It's a shock, of course. You know, some self-pity at first. Why me? That sort of thing. But I looked in the mirror and I thought, well, why not me? And it's funny. You sort of meet yourself again. That secret self we all have, you know, inside. That good self that keeps pushing us forward.
Your soul.
Well, whatever it is, it's helping me.
You've always been a strong person. You're very honest and very honorable.
I suppose it's my Scandinavian upbringing. And the fact that I had a family who loved me.
Lucky you. Lucky both of you.
Well, I know a thing or two about miracles, Joanna. They come when you least expect them and most need them.
Yes, they do.
Oh, come on. We make our own miracles. There is no God up there directing our lives. We direct our own lives.
God's love is real, Brenda, whether you accept it or not.
Well, I don't. I don't accept it. I'm a materialist. I live in the real world. I see things as they really are.
Look, all I know is there have been so many times in my life when I didn't know what to do or where to turn, and suddenly a door just opened for me. I wasn't expecting it. I didn't push it. It just opened. And I walked through. Each time it was a kind of transition to a new stage of life.
That's grace.
I'd call that luck. That's all that is.
Have you seen Stanton?
Oh, Stanton flies in for a week here and there when he can get away.
Well, he's here now. We're expecting him. Come on, stay and say hello.
Yes, stay. And we'll give him a good scare. The three weird sisters, the trans trio.
I can't. My parents are waiting for me.
Well, Joanna, I'm so happy for you because you're happy. I can see it in your eyes.
I've learned so much from you, Christine.
But not about makeup and clothing, obviously.
Oh,
Call me for help anytime, any kind of help.
well, I'd like to give you something before you go.
How bad is it?
Pretty bad. She's lost most of her hair again.
Oh, that must be hard for her.
Oh, she has her wigs. She still dresses up. Will still go out forever the party girl, you know. Oh, no, you mustn't. She hates that kind of sentimentality.
I can't help it. She's always meant so much to me. To all of us.
Well, she's not exactly a saint, darling. She's really quite vain and selfish, you know.
Not underneath it all.
She treats me like a bloody servant. There are times when I simply want to strangle her.
She's lucky to have you, Brenda, and I'm sure she knows that.
She needs to get her affairs in order, and she keeps putting it off, pretends she's writing this new book, but can't finish it because she needs her archives back. She's alluding to all these secrets she's going to reveal, but you know what? Nobody cares anymore. Her time in the limelight is past. She's old news.
Oh, I would like to give these to you.
I thought you'd sent them off with your archives.
Well, at the last minute, I couldn't bear to part with them. They were the only records I'd ever made.
They belong to the Christine Jorgensen collection.
They belong to you. You won't need to hide them under your bed anymore.
Thank you.
And here's a check. I'm sure you need a new computer and God knows what else.
Christine, no.
Come on, take it. Church isn't going to give you any money. The government certainly isn't going to give you any money. And you need money to get started, don't you? I mean, with your AIDS ministry. Listen, when I think of all you've done, all the ways you've helped others, I'm proud to be your friend. Sister Michael, Mary, Elizabeth, Joanna, Clark.
Oh, I have to go.
Well, you'll come back for my Christmas in July party, won't you? It's going to be a real blowout this year.
I wouldn't miss it for anything. Goodbye, Christine.
Bye.
Well, that was awfully nice of you.
I only wish it could have been more. My insurance premium is due this week.
How much did you give her?
Not as much as I wanted to. Oh. Here, this is for you.
This is your favorite ring.
Well, I know you've always admired it. And I can't get it on my swollen finger anymore.
You're giving this to me.
Mm-hmm. That is a 3-carat diamond solitaire. And the band is white gold.
Isn't your sister expecting this, or one of your nieces?
They have their own requests.
Would you put it on my finger?
Yes. But I want you to promise me something first.
What?
You won't leave me.
I won't leave you.
And if something happens to me and I can't, make my own decisions, you know what I mean? Make decisions on my own. I want you to promise me that you won't let them put me on life support.
Oh, Chris.
I'm asking you this because you're not sentimental or religious about these things, and neither am I.
No.
Look, I don't want to be hooked up to tubes and machines and be kept alive that way. So, when the time comes, you'll tell them to pull the plug. Will you do that for me?
You need to put it in writing, Chris. I'm not a family member.
But you agree.
Yes.
Then with this ring, we seal our deal.
It's beautiful.
I found something of yours as I was packing up my archives.
Something of mine?
Mm-hmm. Let's see, where is it? It is here. Yes, I was going through all those old letters. And I noticed it because it was postmarked from England. It was from a boy named Alan Smith. He was writing from his boarding school. He poured his heart out to me. I thought you might like to have it back. There's Stanton. Look, I don't want him to see you.
Go and change. I'll get him a drink.
Okay.
Hello, Stanton.
Brenda? Where's Chris?
She's getting ready. I assume you're taking her out to dinner.
If she's feeling up to it.
She'll make herself feel up to it for you.
Has there been any change?
A little.
What?
Oh, fluctuations of memory. She sleeps a lot and she has bursts of energy, you'll see.
That chemo is poison. It's sucking the life out of her.
Can I get you a drink, Stanton? It takes her quite a long time to get ready these days.
Has she mentioned a will?
I know she's been talking to her lawyer about it.
Ah, that shyster. Has she told you what she wants to do with her estate?
A few things, yes.
Such as?
Well, that's really between Christine and me, isn't it? Unless she chooses to tell you.
Chris isn't the most practical person in the world, you know.
I think she's very practical.
Not when it comes to money and real estate.
And she doesn't have any real estate.
No, but she did. And if she'd managed it properly.
She wouldn't be living in a rented apartment, worrying about her insurance premiums. She'd be living like you.
Do you pay rent here, by the way?
I take care of Christine.
So you don't pay any rent.
I earn my keep, Stanton, believe me.
Does she pay you a salary?
She doesn't need to.
Because you have your own source of income?
I know this may be difficult for you to believe, Stanton, but I've been quite a successful business person, just like you.
Yes, Chris told me you owned a courier service in the Bahamas. Had a fleet of small planes. You still have that?
No.
Did you lose it in your divorce settlement?
No, I just sold it to a company called Federal Express.
You must have made quite a bundle.
I did.
And you're still a British citizen, right?
I am.
You're not here on a green card or a visa or something.
I'm not.
So you still pay UK taxes.
I do.
Which are so much higher than ours. 40%, isn't it? On a big sale like that.
That's right.
And you couldn't really bring the rest of that money into the US, could you? Legally, I mean.
No.
Of course, there are a lot of ways to hide money in the Bahamas to avoid paying taxes.
What are you getting at, Stanton?
I'm just curious. I mean, what are you living on while you're here? Since you're not a citizen, you can't be paid unless it's under the table.
I'm not after Christine's money, if that's what you're implying.
Why are you wearing her diamond ring?
She gave it to me.
When?
That's none of your business.
It is my business. Chris's business is my business.
I'm not going to stand here and be insulted by you.
I'm not insulting you.
You're accusing me of being a thief.
I haven't accused you of anything.
And you better not, Stanton, because if I leave, if I walk out that door, you'll be the one in charge. And I know how much that terrifies you.
There isn't much that terrifies me anymore, Brenda.
Really? I see terror every time you come to visit.
That's not terror. It's concern. I don't want Chris to be taken advantage of.
I can't tell you to leave, Stanton, because my name isn't on the lease here, but if it was, I would.
She's too trusting. She always has been. And she's particularly vulnerable right now.
How dare you come in here and make grandiose pronouncements about someone I live with and take care of every day and every night? Do you think I don't know how vulnerable she is? And how disappointed she was because you wouldn't marry her.
She wouldn't marry me. She's the one who pulled the plug.
Because she knew how terrified you were. How terrified of real emotional commitment. Of taking care of someone.
That's not true.
Oh, it's fine to blow in now and then and have parties and go out to fabulous dinners and pretend that you're a real couple.
You know nothing about our relationship.
You're more concerned about your money and your property than you are her.
I'm a cautious person, Brenda. I don't invite financial or emotional calamity into my life. I love Christine more than you will ever know. More than she will ever know.
If she doesn't know, it's because you never told her.
Told me what? Are you keeping secrets from me?
Chris, would you verify to Stanton that you just gave me this ring?
Why? Did you want it?
Of course not. But wouldn't Dolly like to have something like that? Or one of your nieces? Wouldn't you like to keep it in the family?
Brenda is part of my family.
All right. I just wanted to make sure.
Make sure of what?
Nothing. Are you ready to go?
No.
I made a dinner reservation at Ron's early.
What did you want to make sure of, Stanton?
I reserved our favorite table so we can look out at the ocean.
I'll be in my room, Chris, if you need anything from me.
Look, I know why you asked about the ring. You don't trust her. Or maybe you don't trust me.
I'm sorry, Chris. I was just trying to protect you.
Well, I have Puffy here to protect me.
Yes. You've had Puffy as long as I've known you.
Ah, Puffy knows me better than anyone.
I'm sure he does.
She.
Oh, I've never known.
Yes, well, my grandparents brought her back from Denmark for me when I was 4. They told me she was a boy dog, but she told me she was a girl. She's been with me ever since. 58 years now.
Oof. She's known you even longer than I have.
Well, she's looking a little ragged now, poor thing. You know, a little worse for wear, but she's still here.
Chris,
What?
do you want to get married? You told me you changed your mind about it, but do you?
Are you after my estate?
I had my own estate.
Yeah, well, we've both done all right for ourselves. Haven't we, Stan?
Yes, despite all the obstacles.
Oh, maybe it's because of the obstacles that we did so well. We had to work even harder to prove we weren't what they said we were.
I have to admit, Chris, there were times. Good Lord, there were times when I didn't know if I'd make it.
After your dishonorable discharge, you mean?
Oh, the sense of shame of being treated so unfairly, regarded as something less than a man. The guilt and the anger, not being able to do anything about it, not being able to tell anyone my side of the story.
Well, you told me in that letter.
And I've never forgotten what you wrote back.
Well, I have. What did I say?
You said, never stop holding your head up high. Never stop looking people in the eye. You said, always keep moving forward. But whatever you do, don't run, because then they'll think they've won.
Well, and you didn't run.
No, and neither did you.
I couldn't. I was wearing high heels by then.
And then I met you in person. You changed my life.
We've been happy together, haven't we, Stan? In our own funny way.
Yes, I have, anyway.
I have too. So, let's just keep it the way it is. Share our history when we're together, and always look forward to the next time we'll meet. You know, soulmates instead of spouses.
Whatever you want, Chris.
I've been thinking a lot about my Christmas Christmas in July party.
What about it?
Well, I think it will be a different kind of party this year.
How so?
I'm not sure I'll be there.
Of course you'll be there.
Well, even if I'm not, I still want there to be a party. A big party. And I want you to be the host, you and Brenda. Will you do that for me, Stan?
Of course I will.
Good. I made up a guest list. Around 200 people, like there were when I had my house in Laguna.
Do you want the party here?
No. No. This place is too small and too tacky. We'll do it at Ron's. You know, we'll rent the place for the evening. Let Ron cater it, you know, with a full bar, good wine, shrimp skewers, finger sandwiches, you know, assorted desserts.
Music?
Oh, yes. Fun music, upbeat, like a nightclub. Christine's famous Christmas in July party. You know how to do it.
I should. You stole the idea from me.
Yes, I did. But that was a long time ago on Long Island, on a different ocean.
My God, they were fun, though. Our Christmas and July parties.
And expensive. This one will probably cost around 10 grand. I'll give Ron a check tonight, and anything that's left over, he'll give to Joanna.
Would you let me pay for the party?
I think I would rather pay for it myself, Stan. But I'll let you take me out for dinner tonight.
Are you ready to go?
Ah, Stanton.
Yes, dear.
I'm never going to get my archives back. And that means I'm never going to finish my book. But just for the record, I want someone to know who broke the story.
What story, Chris?
The story that changed my life. The story that gave me my life.
You mean the Daily News back in 1953? Ex-GI becomes blonde beauty?
You know, Stanton dear, I always said I didn't know who snitched on me. I always said, oh, I didn't know who tipped off the reporter at the Daily News. I always said, well, I never wanted all that publicity that came as a result of that story. I always said, I had no intention of becoming a celebrity. That it all happened because of one story leaked to the Daily News. And I said, I didn't know who it was.
It was you, Chris, wasn't it? You were the one who leaked the story. You're the one that made it all happen.
Honey, you're the smartest man I've ever known.
You're pretty smart yourself.
She lived 2 more months. It was very difficult. She didn't want to go. She still had so much to say. But she was too ill to appear on Merv Griffin's talk show, and she missed the opening of the Christine Jorgensen collection in Copenhagen. Her sister Dolly and 2 nieces had flown out a couple of weeks earlier to say goodbye, but I was the one who was with her at the end, and I was the one who told the doctors to pull the plug. A few days later, Dolly and the nieces came back to choose the things they wanted to keep. I laid everything out for them. Dolly asked me where the diamond ring was. I said Chris had given it to me. Dolly all but accused me of stealing it. I said, I'm a knight of the Danish Order of Dannebrog. Knights don't steal diamond rings. And then the death certificate arrived. A single page, name and age of deceased, parents' names, birthplace, date and place of death. A single page, dry and impersonal, but a second page had been attached. An affidavit. It read, Christine Jorgensen, also known as George William Jorgensen Jr. It was strange to see that name, her birth name. She'd come so far from whoever George Jorgensen was, and yet he would always be part of her and her story.
She didn't make it to her Christmas and July party, but we had the party, and I think she would have enjoyed it. Brenda and I sent out over 200 invitations, and about 150 people showed up. Some of them I knew, some of them I didn't. Brenda and I greeted everyone as they came in. I couldn't believe the diversity of the crowd. And yet I could, because that was one of Chris's great gifts, something I had always envied. She made friends so easily. It was something she'd learned during her years as an entertainer and a public figure. And everyone who came because Chris had personally touched their lives in some way. They loved her. They all knew her story, or thought they did. And afterwards, after the party, Brenda and I went back to Chris's apartment. Brenda asked me if there was anything of Chris's that I wanted. And there was. Just one thing. Puffy, her little toy dog. She was all I wanted.
Christine didn't want any kind of religious service or ceremony, nothing in a church, no eulogies, no prayers, no hymns, nothing. She just wanted her ashes to be scattered in the Pacific, in Laguna, at Dana Point. So that's what we did at cocktail hour, because Christine always looked forward to her cocktails. It was a beautiful evening. The surfers had all gone home. There weren't many people on the beach. The sun was sinking lower in the sky. The water was golden, luminous. We held a little procession. I carried the box with Christine's ashes. It seemed like such a little box for such a big personality. Then we took off our shoes, even Stanton, and just stood for a moment, holding hands. And then we walked into that golden California surf, and I opened the box. And we let her go.